S.S.S. Toldos, Tovshin Pei Hey. It's nice actually to be back here at our home headquarters of Bikuch Cholim of Lakewood. Although it's always tough to leave Eretz Yisrael, just last week we were recording the Shir live from the Marat Machpelah. But I always say we have to come back in order to plan to go back again to Eretz Yisrael. We're hoping it'll be very soon, and we hope everybody's going to come along together. Before we begin tonight's shir, I want to wish a very special mazel tov to somebody that comes to the shir here every week. Yitzi Cohen, his bar mitzvah is going to be this Shabbos, tomorrow night. We wish him a mazel tov. He should grow up to be a big Talmud Chacham and give his entire family not lots of nachas. It happens to be that I'm his grandfather, so I'm a little selfish when I give this bracha, but we're looking forward to great things, Yitzi. And we hope you enjoy the shir every Thursday night for many years to come along with us. Just one other programming note. This week, Baruch Hashem, is our 15th anniversary, 15 straight years, 750 straight weeks, Baruch Hashem, that we've given the shir. And next week, in Mirz Hashem, here live at Bikuch Cholim headquarters of World Headquarters, we're going to have a little bit of a Tayameh, celebration, really just to thank Hashem that a shir that was supposed to just last 1 week is now 750 weeks straight. And we've learned a lot of Torah from the Nesivos Shalom. We'll continue right along with that tonight. And really, if you look at the beginning of the parsha, this entire episode of Yitzchak and Yaakov, them being born, growing up, and very quickly the Torah moves along. We move along to Chamishi, to Shishi in the parsha, and we have this entire episode of Yitzchak wanting to give the brachas, to his two children, to Yaakov and Esav. And really, it requires so much explanation. If you just read the words of the parsha and you just read what transpired, it really doesn't suffice to understand how deep. You read the Mefarshim, the Midrashim, so much was going on so many different levels. And the Nesivos Shalom, as you know, we've spoken about this from many, many different angles over the 15 years, Baruch Hashem. And we've even discussed it the same psukim sometimes. We could give so many different pshatim and so many different ways of approaching it. And one of the points mentioned here is that Yitzchak Avinu had to have known that Yaakov was much greater than Esav. We cannot approach this by saying that Yitzchak was totally in the dark and he thought that Esav was a greater person spiritually than Yaakov Avinu. That's one of the things that the Nesivos Shalom says. It has to be that Yitzchak understood that. Yet, for some reason, Yitzchak Avinu wanted to give the brachos to Esav. Whatever he knew and he didn't know about Esav, we'll discuss that in a few minutes. We'll discuss a little more about that. But as great as Yaakov was, Yitzchak Avinu still wanted to give the brachos to Esav. And Nesivos Shalom brings down the Sefer HaKadosh, Be'er Mayim Chaim, and he explains this difficulty, and he says that, which is very interesting, that Yitzchak knew that if Esav was born sometimes a person has to know themselves. And Yitzchak knew that if Esav was born to such parents, like Yitzchak and Rivka, he arrived in this world and he was placed in the home of Yitzchak and Rivka Imenu, then there could be no question that Esav had a holy and important task in this world. He had a tafkid that was very, very important. And that tafkid, Yitzchak Avinu felt, was to become the supporter. To become the one who supports the Oisei mitzvah. You have people that are able to do mitzvahs, to learn Torah. And in this case, the Oisei mitzvah, who were they? The Oisei mitzvah was Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu, who was dedicated to Torah, to Ruchnius, to learning, to Chesed, to everything that he grew up with in Yitzchak Avinu's house and his grandfather, Avraham Avinu. But Yaakov was able to do that. But Yitzchak Avinu felt in order for Yaakov and his descendants to be able to sit and learn and to be Oved Hashem, without distractions, they had to have somebody that would support them. They had to have somebody that Esav would have to be the Ish Sadeh. Esav would have to be the person, somebody had to be out there working so he can support the yeshivas. He could support the Lomdei Torah. He needed to be an Ish Yodei Tzayid, which means somebody who knew his craft. He knew what he had to do. He was the businessman. And he would be the one, Yitzchak felt, to support Yaakov Avinu. And that might explain why Yitzchak asked Esav to go ahead and bring him food at all in the first place. You look through the Mefarshim, they tell us in so many different times that every businessman, every person in the world wanted to do business with Yitzchak Avinu. Whether it was in the water business, the wells, and this and that, whatever Yitzchak Avinu touched turned to gold. Literally. And Yitzchak Avinu had everything. He didn't need to ask somebody to go out into the field, to go catch an animal, and shecht it and make and get food ready. Yitzchak Avinu had plenty of servants and plenty of food, and he was not desperate for food. So asking Esav to go out and get food for him meant something. In other words, Yitzchak says in Nesivos Shalom that Yitzchak thought that Esav should be now going out to get food for him. Why? To practice. This showed exactly what Yitzchak Avinu expected of Esav. He wanted Esav to now go out and practice. Go learn your purpose. Your purpose is, and the reason I want to give you the brachas, he didn't need the food. He needed Esav to learn the lesson that your purpose is going to be to go bring home, and we don't want to use bring home the bacon, right? But go to bring home the support, to go out and bring the animals, bring the food, bring what I need, that's going to be your job in the future to support Lomdei Torah, to support Yaakov Avinu. And Esav had to have the bracha first in order for Yaakov Avinu to be able to learn, to be able to do what is required on the Ruchniya side. Esav had to have that bracha first because he would be the support. He would enable Yaakov Avinu to sit and learn. And then, once that is done, Yaakov Avinu could have the brachas of Olam Haba and Ruchnius and Torah. So Yitzchak gave Yaakov the brachas of V'yiten Lecha and the Mital HaShamayim and Mishmanei Haaretz. Yaakov ended up getting that bracha, but that bracha was meant for Esav specifically. The brachas of Gashmias, which of course we're all happy that we got as the children of Yaakov Avinu, and of course at the end we know that everything worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. But Yitzchak wanted Esav to have those brachas, Mital HaShamayim, Mishmanei Haaretz, V'roiv Dagon V'siroish. That was meant for Esav to be able to bring home the support to Yaakov. And Chazal tell us, and if you look at the Targum, V'yiten L'cha Ho'alekim, the Targum tells us, V'yiten L'ch Elokusa, godliness. A bracha I'm giving you, Hashem should give you a bracha filled with godliness. And this would be a very chashuv and godly task, to support those who are learning, to do what it takes to help someone who is a loimet Torah, someone who's teaching Torah. That's a tremendous, tremendous task, and a very, very important one. That you should have hatzlacha, the bracha, you should have hatzlacha with your crops, have hatzlacha with your business, so you, Esav, and your descendants can help out Yaakov Avinu and his children to learn Torah. And Yitzchak also gave the bracha of Heve Gevir La'achecha. And that's very interesting because Yitzchak was thinking of future generations of Klal Yisrael. Chazal tell us, the Mefarshim tell us, that the bracha was given to Yaakov, which was supposed to go to Esav, Heve Gevir La'achecha. But Yaakov Avinu saw that in future generations, that unfortunately his children are going to have to go to Golus. And Yaakov Avinu felt that if they have to go to Golus, let it at least be under Esav. That Esav, Hebe Gevir Le'achecha, you should be the one to rule over Yaakov, because Yitzchak Avinu thought that if they're going to go to Golus and they're going to go to someone else, they're going to be terribly tormented and more abused and more. At least Esav, he thought, Esav would be a brother and he would treat Yaakov better. But of course, in that regard, that's where Yitzchak Avinu really did not know the rishus of Esav. Because if Yitzchak was thinking that in the Goliaths, and imagine we went through Goliaths of Rome and whatever, and all the different types of Goliaths, today's Goliaths and everything, to think that Esav would treat Yaakov better because he's a brother, Adrab, he hated him even more because he's a brother that he felt afterwards and throughout history until today, they still feel that we stole, that we took away, which was really coming to us. But that's where Yitzchak had the intentions that if Klal Yisrael is doing the Ratzon Hashem, they would get totally supported by Esav. But if not, then at least they would go into Golus and Esav would treat them better. If they Chas v'Shalom do Averes, and there would have to be a Golus, and that's what happened. And that's why Yitzchak Avinu wanted to give the brachos to Esav. First of all, they should support Yaakov, and also if Yaakov would be down, if they would taka Chas v'Shalom do Averes, and it would warrant them going into Golus, that Esav should treat them better. The brachas only meant they were to allow Yaakov and his children to learn and to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And one of the important lessons, if you think about what we just learned over here, one of the important things we see is that sometimes people underestimate also the schar that you get when you give tzedakah, when you support, when you go out and you help in any small way. If Esav was going to get the schar, if it would be a great thing for Esav, how much more is it for us? How much more do we have to respect and admire those people who support Torah? Those people who understand that some of their tzedakah dollars should go to support somebody who struggles a little bit in learning, someone who wants to sit in kollel, someone that devotes their life to Torah. It was important enough that Yitzchak Avinu was going to give the first brachos, the brachos that are at the beginning, the brachos that start everything off. That was meant for Esav. You know why? Because you're going to support Torah. And that's why sometimes we have to understand and respect and see how chashuv and how important it is to support. Not everybody can be the one who's sitting and learning and doing and teaching. Not everybody's cut out for that. And even if you are cut out for that, people have to make parnasa. People have families. People have to marry off their children. People have to make bar mitzvahs, right? So people have to be able to afford those kind of things. You want to afford it? You want to go out to work? No problem. That's what you're supposed to do. You have a job to work in this world also. But understand that if you're able to support Torah is a very great thing. And that's a lesson we learned. You see from the brachos, from Yaakov, brachos that were, the brachos that were afterwards, that were supposed to be given to Esav, they were given to Esav afterwards. We should all talk about zoicha, that everybody here, everybody loves brachos, everybody wants brachos, that we should be zoicha to have all these beautiful brachos that we did receive at the end, because at the end, Hashem turned the world that we got the brachas, and it was meant for us. Everyone here should be zeicha to the brachas of ruchnius and gashmius, and you should have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos. Mazel tov, mazel tov. We're looking forward to the bar mitzvah.